Hello, this is Jason Bosch, and I wanted to make this quick video in response to a comment that was just left today on one of my videos, the one that I did with Allison called Steering Consciousness, Linguistic Alchemy, and Soul Cybernetics. The person, I blocked out his name. I'll go ahead and read the comment. I blocked out this person's name, but they wrote, "Hi, we had a back and forth about blockchain a while back. I was looking for a simple explanation of what differentiates it from other tech. It seemed at the time that you had an almost ideological opposition to blockchain as opposed to other tech, which to my mind is at least seems comparable, i.e. it can be used both for positive and negative effect. You weren't able to give a simple explanation and seemed to suggest you would offer one on your channel at some point. Have I missed that, or has your position changed on this? Please don't point me to a 4-hour stream as you did before. It's a simple question." Well, I ended up actually just blocking this person and not directly engaging with them, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But about this, the question, first of all, it's a question that's not really related to the work that I'm doing. I don't have just a generic, broad opposition to blockchain. So, and how it differentiates from other tech, that's not the question that's related to my work. Those who have been following this know that what we're talking about is digital governance and cybernetic steering of humanity. And then there's also financial markets and intelligence services, and there's all sorts of military applications. And we've actually addressed, both Allison and I, respectively, have both addressed the issue of tech being used just for good or evil. So the content is actually on the channels. You just have to spend some time to watch some of the material that we've been putting out. And so this person clearly hasn't actually watched the material. If they have, they don't really have anything to say about anything that we've been actually saying. So it says, "Please don't point me to a 4-hour stream as you did before." So I'm guessing this person never watched the 4-hour stream that I pointed to them, or even 1 hour of it. Because if they did, they would probably understand that it's not simply blockchain that we're against. Blockchain is a part of a system that's being set up that's going to be partly on chain, partly off chain, on Web3, surveillance, smart tech, but cybernetic steering of humanity using tokens and all sorts of mechanisms of punishment and reward. And so even the video that this person posted this comment on had nothing to do with that. Actually, we didn't even mention blockchain in this video. And so they come on my channel and make some sort of comment that has nothing to do with the actual video. That's, quite frankly, that's really disrespectful. And so I didn't engage with this person, and I went ahead and blocked them. But I thought it was an opportunity to talk about how we are engaging with each other and with the world. And it's like we talked a lot about in this video, excuse me, the feed, how we're just fed information. Now, this person, I guarantee you, has spent, probably many more than 4 hours listening to content in favor of blockchain. Yet they won't actually engage. They just see, "Oh, you're against blockchain," and that's the end of it. Oh, you're against blockchain, without actually understanding where it is that I'm coming from. So it's kind of incredible. But I can tell you what, I have spent actually more. There's not a lot of content out there actually that's critical of this. So I've spent vastly more time watching videos and reading articles and even books that are in favor of blockchain technology and Web3 and smart contracts and decentralized autonomous organizations and all the different things that this new system entails. Then I have the critiques of it, because, like I said, there aren't very many critiques of it, and the few critiques of it that are out there are actually misguided critiques. In other words, they're not actually understanding the root of the problem. So anyway, but I thought it's so, I was on social media. I've spent decades having conversations and arguments with people on politics and economics and all kinds of, health, environmental issues, all kinds of different issues. And I found that like a large percentage of that was just a complete waste of time because the other person wasn't actually engaged. They had their point of view, they had their worldview, and they were coming at a position from of defending their worldview. And so, and on social media, when when I first met Allison and I first started doing stuff with her, both of her and I were pretty active in engaging with people in 2020 and 2021 online, and it typically got nowhere. And so Allison actually got to the point where she just started blocking people, and she's like, I'm not giving you my bandwidth because you're not actually interested in learning this stuff. And I've come, and I was more trying to like actually engage with people. And it was, quite frankly, I think largely a waste of time. So I've kind of come to her position of like, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm not going to engage with people who aren't willing to engage with me. And I'm not coming onto your space criticizing you and not willing to engage with what you're actually saying. If I come at you with a different perspective, I'm going to give you the respect to actually look at what your perspective is. I'm not just going to come at you without any understanding of that and then start, making claims that you're just coming from an ideological position or something like that. I'll actually engage with what it is you have to say if I'm going to actually go out and engage with you in your space. But I'm actually not even doing that because I am focused on this, and I think it's actually the most important subject matter that could take our time right now, that we should be spending time on. And it kind of blows my mind that more people are not actually engaged in this discussion because it's a very there's a lot to talk about. Even this one video that we talked about a lot of different things that are really interesting and thought provoking and that might engage your mind a little bit. So anyway, but yeah, so I finally got to the point where I was like, fine, you know what? Like, I'm just going to start curating who I engage with. And I've had like even family members and close friends, just really disrespectful and not like, I've talked about this before. I mean, I have no problem with someone disagreeing with me, but know what you're disagreeing about. Like, know what my position is before you disagree with it. And so, yeah. So anyways, yeah. And so I was going to mention a story too, where I recently had a friend and she was a dear friend and I was actually really hurt by the whole situation. But she even came to Allison's event, but she's really into the health freedom space. And I was like, hey, you know what, trying to share this information, and Allison tried to share information with her when she was in town, and her and her partner would not listen. They just would not hear it. And, but she did to her, she did actually come to, Allison's event. So I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe she's open to hearing about this. So she's all concerned about health freedom. And I'm trying to explain, well, there's a reason why all this is happening, and it has to do with digital governance. And so if you don't understand that piece of it, you're going to be lost. You can't you can't navigate this from just like we just need a safer vaccine or whatever. You're not actually understanding what the problem is. But anyways, so I was on the phone with her, and she was like, oh, so you still doing stuff with Allison? What's new with that? So I thought that was an opening to start, again, trying again. I'm like, okay, I have this little window of opportunity. Maybe she'll listen to me now. So I started to go into explaining all this stuff. And yeah, I was very passionate about it. But she was, and then I ended it with like, and I went through this probably it's like a 15-minute speech. It was very fast. I was trying to get a lot of information out at once. And then I ended it with like, yeah, and I'm so frustrated because we have all this really important information and people won't listen to us. And then she responded by saying, well, I'm going to hang up now. I'm not going to listen to you. And basically saying, I can tell you're really upset. And she started to like pathologize me and say, oh, maybe, you have some childhood trauma or something. And I'm just like, what? No, this isn't childhood trauma. it was really heartbreaking. I wrote her a letter and explaining to her, how disappointed I was, but I haven't heard back. But I've lost a lot of people over this, and I guess I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, I'm really putting my foot down. I'm not going to engage with anybody who's not willing to actually engage with this material, because there's lots of material, and if you want some sort of quick summary about something, I can't do that. I'm actually trying to summarize all this. I am working on a piece that's trying to summarize this, but it's still going to be a pretty long summary, because there's a lot. I mean, if you guys, those of you who've been following this work, know there is a lot to this system. And it's not something, and this person doesn't even know what the framing is all off in the first place. They just think this is just about blockchain. And then comparing blockchain to other tech, it's some just broad generic thing that's not even coming from a place of even like pretending to understand. So yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm not engaging in that. Like, there's material out there. Watch the 4-hour thing that I sent you. And then if you have comments or questions about any of the material based on the actual content itself, I'm down. Like, that's fine. And if someone disagrees with it, that's fine. But actually, again, know what you're disagreeing with. We're having different conversations. So that's it. I just wanted to share that. And I think it's, yeah, it's kind of disappointing, but yeah, I'm not engaging with that. So thanks for listening.